nothing against, like, I love a good hysterical female song, but not like hysterical in like a charged, great, empowered way. It's just like, you know what I mean? You know that sound
It's
that's
not
like
cheesy.
a little,
It's not cheesy.
And anyways, women are people of multitudes. And, I think that it was important to me that it didn't just feel like someone's interpretation of like male gaze. Like it really was, this is what we like, this is what we listen to, this is what makes us feel these vibes.
Allowing Blake to take discovery in order to uncover the alleged lengths, if any, that Baldoni's side may have gone to in working with notable anti-Blake content creators as part of the alleged smear campaign.
Blake Lively's legal campaign has taken a shocking turn, and it's leaving a trail of outrage in its wake. What began as a lawsuit has morphed into something much bigger, an all-out assault on critics, journalists, and even domestic violence survivors who dared to discuss her case online. In an unprecedented move, Blake subpoenaed dozens of content creators and media figures, demanding their private emails, backup accounts, and financial records. To many, this felt less like legal discovery and more like intimidation, a way to scare critics into silence.
I think I'm like her in the sense that we don't indulge in the gossip. We don't listen to what people say about us. You just have to turn a blind eye to it. People are gonna talk, and you can't be hurt by that. You can't listen to that. And she's really striving. These days, I live my whole life. It's easier to fall into that, like talking about someone else and when you stick up for someone, you're going out on a limb when a whole group is making fun of someone. But I've really tried to have some honor in my life.
But the fallout has been brutal. Small creators with limited resources are suddenly facing mountains of legal paperwork, expensive attorney fees, and the looming threat that their personal data, including addresses and bank information, could be exposed. It's a David versus Goliath story that's turning the internet against her. And now, with the situation spiraling out of control, the backlash has grown so fierce that even high-profile voices are stepping in. One of them, Perez Hilton. And what he's accusing Blake of could change the course of this entire case.
The social pressures were there, but I never felt like I belonged, which is something that I still struggle with. And I think has become one of the greatest blessings in disguise. Like I felt like an outsider. Like I would walk into a party and I would want to fit in.
Allowing Blake to take discovery in order to uncover the alleged lengths, if any, that Baldoni's side may have gone to in working with notable anti-Blake content creators as part of the alleged smear campaign.
I am also just like everybody else in the sense that I take on more than I can chew. I overcommit. I say yes to things out of fear. I people please.
If there's one person who knows how to shake up a courtroom, it's Perez Hilton. Filing under his legal name, Mario Lavandera, Perez has officially asked the court for a protective order against Blake Lively, and he's not holding back. In his filing, Perez accuses Blake of turning the discovery process into a weapon, calling her subpoenas harassment and a fishing expedition aimed at silencing her critics. He says she's targeting mostly women, including survivors of domestic violence, and spending thousands of dollars in legal fees just to intimidate journalists who publicly discuss her case. And it's not just about him. Perez revealed that dozens of creators have received similar subpoenas, many of whom lack the resources to fight back. He even claims that Blake's legal team has recklessly exposed personal addresses of non-parties on the court docket, putting people's safety at risk. This, he argues, isn't about seeking truth, it's about shutting people up. Perez's motion paints a chilling picture of celebrity power being abused in the ugliest way possible. And for the first time in weeks, the judge appears to be listening. Until now, Judge Lyman hasn't exactly been a champion for those caught in Blake's legal crossfire. Critics accused him of brushing off concerns about safety and harassment, but Perez's motion may have finally forced his hand. In a surprising development, the judge has agreed to consider a protective order, one that could bar Blake from issuing any more subpoenas without court approval. It's a small step, but a big signal that the court might finally be taking these concerns seriously. The deadline for Blake to respond? August 5th. That means the clock is ticking, and both sides have just days to make their case. But here's the kicker. If the protective order is granted, it could set a new precedent for how far celebrities can go when using subpoenas against critics. For Blake, that could mean losing a powerful tool in her lawsuit. For the creators she's targeting, it could mean finally catching a break in this exhausting legal battle. And the question hanging over it all, did Blake go too far? And is the judge ready to call her out for it? Behind the legal jargon and filings are real people whose lives have been upended. Many of those subpoenaed are independent creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, and journalists who lack the deep pockets of Hollywood lawyers. They've been forced to hire attorneys, spend hours combing through personal emails, and face the terrifying possibility that their most private information, including bank accounts, IP addresses, and even backup emails, could end up in the hands of a woman who's made it clear she doesn't like them. Some of these individuals are domestic violence survivors who say being dragged into this lawsuit has reopened old wounds. Others fear being doxxed by Blake's fanbase if their personal details go public. To make matters worse, Google has warned some recipients that if they don't respond in time, their data could be handed over automatically. For many, this isn't just a lawsuit, it's a nightmare. And while Blake's team insists this is standard legal practice, critics argue it's a clear abuse of power designed to punish anyone brave enough to speak out. But here's where the story takes an even darker twist. Reynolds. Multiple insiders, including journalist Richard Fedak, suggest that this lawsuit might be more Ryan's brainchild than Blake's. And when you look at his history, it's not hard to see why. Ryan has a long track record of aggressively protecting his image, sometimes in explosive ways. Paparazzi have accused him of violent outbursts. Extras on film sets have described confrontations where Ryan allegedly pinned and yelled at them for simply having cameras nearby. And according to Fedak, Ryan once attacked his car, then lied to police by claiming he'd been hit. Now, some believe this lawsuit is just another extension of that obsession, an attempt to control the narrative and crush anyone profiting from his or Blake's public image. Combined with Ryan's history in tech and marketing, critics fear these subpoenas could be used for far more than legal purposes. It's a pattern. Control the image, silence the critics, and weaponize the law to do it. And that's what makes this fight so much bigger than one case. When you step back, a disturbing picture emerges. This isn't just about one lawsuit. It's about power and paranoia. Blake and Ryan have painted themselves as victims, claiming they're under threat from dangerous critics. But Perez and other subpoenaed creators argue that the real danger is coming from them. By weaponizing the legal system, Blake has forced dozens of people into a game they never agreed to play, all while stirring up her fan base to go after her detractors. It's the perfect storm. Legal intimidation backed by an army of loyal supporters ready to attack anyone who dares speak against her. Critics see this as a calculated move, one that allows Blake to keep her hands clean while others do the dirty work. And if the judge doesn't intervene, they fear this will become the blueprint for how celebrities silence criticism in the future. Now all eyes are on August 5th. That's when Blake must respond to Perez's motion and when the judge could finally decide whether to rein her in. Will he grant the protective order, cutting off her ability to unleash more subpoenas? Or will he side with Blake, giving her free rein to keep digging into the private lives of those who dared to criticize her? Either way, the stakes couldn't be higher. For creators, it's about protecting their rights, their safety, and their livelihoods. For Blake, it's about control over her image, her critics, and the narrative itself. One thing is certain, this battle is far from over, and if the judge does step in, it could send shockwaves through Hollywood, setting a precedent for how far celebrities can go when wielding their power against the public.